Hi. Yeah, come and have a look at the cabinets. In here we've got lots of really interesting artefacts that are all to do with Devizes and specifically the town council. You can see that very old
night watchman's rattle.
Yes, because a night watchman would go around.
A
very old deed box at the back, the wooden one. Can you see that across there? Here we are, look, the town crier's hat here.
Somebody's way.
Hi, Jan. And very old Hannup cup.
A what?
A Hannup cup.
Hannup cup?
Yes.
What is that?
Ceremonial cup that's carried in processions and so on. Parts of the mayoral chain, you see, the mayoral chain became so big and so long that some of it has been put into this cabinet with all the mayor's names on, because all the mayors have their names engraved on
the chain.
On the chain links, yes.
On the little links there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for showing me those, Chris.
Yeah, follow through. The cheese hall.
Oh, your glasses. There you go.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
The cheese hall is in here. It's so named because part of what was done under the old town hall was to trade in
cheese dealing.
Yes. Yeah. And you can see many photographs about the history of Devizes. And if you look on this side, you can see various documents.
Morning. Okay.
I'm going to show you something.
You're going to take me somewhere I've never been before.
You haven't seen before. Here, and this is open to the public, but here we have woodcuts.
Oh, how lovely.
They come from the old Ruth Pierce cafe that used to be in the marketplace.
Right.
And they've been preserved, they've been treated. I think these woodcuts, these carvings, were actually made in the 50s, and you can see sometimes where the wood has started to split. But they tell a lot of the history of Devizes.
And what have we up here?
Ruth Pierce.
Oh, poor
the
Ruth.
lady that's lied about having paid her share of the corn and was struck down for telling a lie.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because the detail about her having the money in her hand wasn't added till many years later.
No. Rather large amounts of money there. Here you can see the legend of the Moonrakers, showing how intelligent they were.
Because they had the stuff smuggled in barrels in the ponds, didn't they?
That's right.
And they told the excise men, was it, that they were raking for the cheese that was the moon.
Was reflected. And of course, what it was the excise man went away saying, Wiltshire people.
Strong in the arm and thick in the head.
Exactly. We haven't got the time to have a look at all of these, but I'll just take you through a few of them. We've got various parts of history here. If you come around, follow me around.
A bit of a battle going on there. I think that's is that the old town square up there? I think it might be.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Because of course we featured highly in the Civil War. We have here, there is a story that Matilda was smuggled out of Devizes Castle when she was fighting with her cousin Stephen over who was going to take over the throne after Henry I died, and she has been smuggled out.
And you've got a favourite Matilda story, haven't you? Was it Matilda where her son was paraded?
Oh yes, poor Matilda. She was holed up in the castle, and cousin Stephen wanted the castle, and he took her son with a noose around his neck, her little son, and said, if you don't come out, he's going to get it. Yeah, but
grim.
She had various children by her husband, but I gather this boy was a child of Bishop Roger.
A love child.
Yes. Here, now this is an interesting picture because at Drew's Pond there was a boating accident on January the 30th, which I remember because that is my birthday. It's also the day when poor Charles I had his head chopped off.
Oh.
And this is in 1751. And there was a boating accident. Well, these people were boating, young people were boating on a Saturday, on a Sunday.
On the Sabbath.
On the Sabbath. And this was a warning to, like the Ruth Pearson.
So in the corner of this, there's the obelisk that's in St James Churchyard. St John's Churchyard. And I think on that there's a plaque that says, or an engraving that says that it's a monument to youthful folly.
But poor young people. Oh dear me. Yes.
And what about these windmills?
When the castle was demolished.
Because what we've got now is a kind of Victorian version of the castle, isn't it?
Sadly, it's not sadly for the people that live there. It's a beautiful place, but sadly for the old castle, it was starting to fall into some
disrepair.
But the Civil War did for it, and Oliver Cromwell had it taken down.
Knocked it about a bit.
and 2 windmills were put up there. They ground various things, including tobacco, the Anstey's tobacco.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Civil War, of course, rather graphic pictures there. And this here, as you can see...
These are great carvings, aren't they?
And here, pictures of Devizes from Ramway Hill? No. From the higher ground to the east of Devizes.
Okay.
And you can see the parliamentarians there using the churches to actually fire into Devizes. Devizes was under siege. We had the royalists here, and General Hopkin had been injured quite badly in the Battle of Lansdowne and was hauled up in Devizes. And if you go to St James's Church and look at the east, you can see in the church turf, I'll show you the cannonball holes.
Look, okay, they're even in the carving.
And it's interesting because can you see that yet?
Yeah, got that.
It is said that the royalists had run out of wick to light their guns and so on. So the bed cords were taken off the beds in Devizes. I'm sure the ladies didn't like that very much. They were used for the wick to...
Okay.
Yeah.
Very resourceful. I expect some of the ladies didn't mind too much. What's going on here? Horses. I wonder who did these carvings. I'm going to have to look into these. I think there's some stuff online about them, isn't there? And there's the castle in the background.
All of these depict various incidents that have happened in
town scenes. Lovely. Well, thank you very much for showing me them. And that's just a general good gentleman of the town crying the sessions, it says. Devizes still retains the privilege granted by Charter of James I of having a recorder. The quarter sessions are cried by the town crier, who still wears the ancient livery of the verderer or forest officer of the castle, a post once much sought after and carrying many privileges, including membership of the council. Whereas these days you have to be voted.
You have to be, yes.
Or is there anybody on there for any other reasons? Or
No. The councillors are all
voted in.
Yes, gone, stood for election and been voted in.
Good.
By the people of Devizes, obviously.
Because in some countries they don't bother with elections, do they? No. We don't like that, do we? Thank you, Chris.
Just before we start, I was talking about the wood paintings. If you see on the wall here, the Royal Arms for the Guildhall in 1606, and this beautiful one here, the Devizes Borough Arms, because of course we were made a royal borough in I can't quite remember, 1141.
Okay.
When Matilda was here. And the people of Devizes helped Matilda, and so we became a royal borough. And if we're talking about the mayors, I just wanted to show you this. We've had mayors in Devizes, since 1302.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of the records sadly are missing, so I can't give you precise numbers of how many mayors there have been. But yeah, and come on through to see the photographs, because once photography had been invented.
Now, this is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this interview with you, Chris, is the number of times I've been in the town hall and I've looked at these pictures of the mayors and wondered about what the town was like during their particular period of the mayoralty.
Wow.
And you've been mayor for 2 years in a really unique period of history yourself. So that's why we're here.
Yes, well, we have, I've been mayor during the pandemic and things have been very different. No other mayor has, had the situations that we've had in the whole world, but certainly in Devizes in that time. If you look here, you see the photographs of the mayors, and interestingly enough, you can see when the chain.
That's the chain you're wearing now. Shall we have a quick look at that?
Right, yeah, beautiful, beautiful chain with the borough coat of arms.
Lovely.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
And quite heavy from what you've been saying.
Oh, yes, it's quite heavy. Quite valuable, and it's very well secured, I can assure you. And you see here that the chain was first used in 1879. Before that, the mayors wore nothing.
Okay, so he hasn't got one on. All these guys down here haven't got one on either, have they?
No.
They do start to look a lot grander from this point, don't they? Various degrees of finery. And we spoke about people who were mayors during the wars, didn't we?
Yes, we have the photograph here. There's Herbert Sainsbury, Mayor Sainsbury, who was mayor when the war broke out. And then, interestingly enough, I was looking at this the other day, Mayor Neat, he was mayor for 3 years, which was quite unusual, but it must have been like me carrying on through the pandemic.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was wondering.
Yes.
I don't know if they had elections still, or probably not.
Well, that's some work I still need to do.
But that would have been very difficult. Sorry, after you.
No, I'm very interested because many mayors have done more than one term as mayor, but I would suspect that it was through the war that Mayor Neat just carried on.
Because I think in the Second World War, which they're quite a way up and it's quite difficult to see with the light and the glare, there were actually several mayors through the Second World War. So I wonder what the difference was.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that, Chris, won't we?
Oh, work to be done, Gail, work to be done.
Right, so what...
Well, something interesting. I have to say, obviously you can see here, colour photography comes in.
Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed quite quickly, I've done some teas and some talks in here, and I've obviously done quite a lot of work researching the town hall and its development and so on. But you see there, the first female mayor from 1302 wasn't until 1951.
Mayor Reed.
Yes.
She's sixth from the right up there.
Yeah. And then shortly after we had another mayor, Mayor Proudman, who's a female. That's in 1956. But still, it was predominantly men that became mayors.
Yeah.
But again, if you pan on down, you can see suddenly, after the year 2000, there are many, many women. It just shows how our society has actually changed.
And you said to me...
Yes, my grandson came, and he lives in London, and I showed him, obviously, my picture. Oh, and his great-granddad, that's my dad, up there.
That's Mayor Perrott.
Mayor Perrott, yes.
From 1988, that's your dad.
Yes, and I can assure you, I never, ever thought that I would be mayor and follow in his footsteps.
You have your family's got a long-standing connection with the town.
Well, they have. I'll just tell you about Harrison first. I showed him these pictures, brought him in here and showed him, and said, "Oh, Harrison, what do you notice?" And he said, I was expecting him to say, oh, there's women now in colour photography and so on. And he said, oh, Nanny, you haven't got any black people. I mean, people from Asia or anywhere. And that was interesting because I thought, we are in a country town.
Yeah.
And he lives in a city. And our society is still quite different than the city society.
Very much so. But we do welcome people from other cultures and communities,
and of course,
don't we?
Of course, anybody is welcome to stand for the council. Stand for election. Yeah, I can't say that people are going to get elected necessarily, but yes, and we welcome diversity. One of the big strengths of Devizes is the diversity, the experience and expertise within our town council.
Yes.
People from all walks of life who've had all kinds of jobs, financial jobs, jobs in retail and so on and so forth. And it makes the town so strong.
Lovely. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Any chance of a quick look in the beautiful assembly room, Chris? Thank you. Been to a few arts events in here.
I honestly believe...
I love this room so much.
that our town council, our town hall, is one of the best town halls in Wiltshire, honestly.
It's so lovely.
And this again shows how amazing Devizes was. This town hall was built in the early 1800s. You can see there Lord and Lady Roundway. You can see this amazing ceiling, this beautiful ceiling. I don't know if people come in here and look up very often.
Well, you can't really miss it, can you?
Oh, it's just beautiful.
And then you've got the chandeliers and the way they kind of disappear into the mirrors if you get them at a certain angle.
And there's King George and his Queen. This end.
He looks very young there, King George.
George III, yes.
Kind of swamped by his finery.
Well, that wouldn't have been something you popped to this shop in.
We'll have a quick look out here. So you said about the view.
I was a teacher of history, and I used to use Devizes as a study because it's one of the only towns in the country that still has the old medieval street system in the centre.
Right.
Which of course causes the traffic problems because everything funnels into the town centre and then funnels out again. So I'm sure people living in Devizes know what it's like sometimes, how busy it is. But the marketplace is a really lovely area. Again, people comment on how beautiful that is. And it's an interesting place because you never look out of the marketplace. There's always a building at the end, like, for example, this town hall or Wadworth building the other end. Yeah.
The centre of the town used to be near St Mary's, I think, originally.
Yeah, that was the old market. Oh, we've got Monday Market Street there as well. The names of Devizes streets tell you a lot about the history of the town. Northgate Street, Southgate Street, Monday Market Street. As the town developed, you've got Victoria Road, Snuff Street because of the factory that was there. We were a famous town for tobacco and beer. Tobacco isn't made and traded here anymore, but we still have Wadworth Brewery.
One thing that amuses me is I think at one point we had a psychiatric hospital, a brewery, a police headquarters, and a prison. Yes. Somebody probably correct me and say we didn't have them all at the same time, but you know, one should imagine that some people spend a bit of time in all of those places. Yeah. And what's this over here, Chris?
We had a council meeting in here last night.
Okay.
And it's a horseshoe round, and anybody is welcome to come to the meetings. They're advertised on the Town Council website and so on.
There are some bits of meetings that are closed to the public, aren't they? But mostly they're open.
Only usually at the end of meetings, when it's something personal.
Sensitive.
Something like, for example, I don't know, dealing with particular people, properties or something. Town council properties, obviously. So,
you've got a gavel.
Oh, yes.
Like a nice gavel.
The meetings always start.
Oh, nobody's arguing with that, are they?
And end with that as well. And whoever's chairing, the mayor chairs full council, and then we have other councillors chairing different committees, so it's shared around, yes.
Okay, lovely. And you're back to normal with your meetings after all this time?
During lockdown, very interesting, Gail, because what we did was we had Zoom meetings.
Right.
Which, it was different, but the work of the town council carried on. And again, the Zoom meetings were open to anybody.
Yeah, it was a bit of a learning curve for everyone, wasn't it?
Yes.
But you managed.
Yeah.
So is it nice to be back actually face to face with people?
Face to face. Not just because of the meetings, but because you can interact with your fellow councillors before and after the meetings.
I think people generally look less scary when you're sat in front of them than when you're seeing them on a computer screen or something they've written on Facebook or something like that. And we need to spend more time with each other, don't you? We, rather. Thanks very much, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been so lovely showing you around. I'm going to take you now to the council chamber.
Okay.
And you can ask me some questions.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Okay.
Now, thank you for showing me those lovely carvings downstairs, Chris. I really appreciated that.
You're welcome.
And so here we are, and I'd just like to ask you a few questions about being the mayor. How did you feel when you were made Mayor of Devizes?
Well, you know, Gail, it was extremely odd because I, 10 days earlier, had been sworn in via Zoom because we were in lockdown as deputy mayor.
Right.
And suddenly, 10 days on, of course, poor Andy Johnson died very suddenly.
That was so sad.
So we had a week or two in limbo, and then I had been asked if I would take over as mayor, so I was really mayor and deputy, if you like, at one and the same time.
Right.
So how did I feel? We were in lockdown, life was so different. It was just something I took on without any great excitement or, razzmatazz. However, being Mayor of Devizes, wow, such an honour, such a privilege. It's an amazing, unique country town. I mean, every town is unique, I know, but this is very, very special. And being Mayor of this town, and at this point, that we were, the first mayor was in 1302. That's a long line of mayors to take over.
And as we said before, history's your thing, so you will have felt the weight of history behind you, and a huge sense of responsibility.
Yes.
What? Tell me. I'm sure I'm not the only one that isn't quite sure what exactly the responsibilities of the mayor are.
Well, the mayor is leader of the council. And so there are certain committees, and the mayor sits in on every committee, and the mayor leads the full council meetings.
Right.
And the mayor represents the town. So I've represented the town in London at the Rifleman's Awards dinner. I've been to Finland representing the town in the Tornio 400 year celebrations.
That's one of our twinning towns?
Yes. And then I represent the town in various church services at various other mayoral events and so on and so forth.
So there's still some quite ancient things you do as mayor, aren't there? Some very old traditional things you do, like, give me an example, like for instance your chain is very old.
This chain, yeah. I actually have to show my ignorance here. I'm not sure exactly how old this chain is. We've looked at the photographs, you can see mayors wearing this chain going way back.
And you have names of the mayors carved on all of the little shields that go round your thing in a chain.
Yeah, there's several mayors' names on each side of these little shields, and part of this chain is downstairs. There's quite a length downstairs with names on, yes.
And there's some lovely cabinets downstairs with some of the items that have been used over the years.
What the mayor does is raise money for some local charities, and in fact it's been very, very difficult for me because we've been in lockdown, we've had tears, but what I was doing was giving a really nice cream tea in here in the council room, and doing a tour of the town hall, which is a fascinating building, and a brief history of Devizes, And part of that was going down to the cabinet downstairs and looking at some of the artefacts there.
And there's a dungeon underneath as well, isn't there?
Well,
Was it the old town
the
lockup?
old prison. And of course, it is reputed that we have at least one ghost in the town hall.
Oh, do you? I'm not sure I knew about that.
One downstairs, yeah. It's been said that a lady drifts down the stairs, and this has been seen after various events. Now, whether it's a spirit or the spirit of 6X, who knows? And then down in the dungeon underneath, at various times, groups have gone down there, ghost hunting groups, and it is said that there is a ghost down there, but it's very dark and very dank down there. Horrible place to be.
Yes, I think I've been down there once on one of the Heritage Open Day tours. I went down there.
Fascinating place.
Yeah, very grim actually.
Well, very grim. If you woke up with a hangover, being shoved in there, being drunk and disorderly, and you wake up in this cold, dark place.
Not nice at all. No. So I'm going to get a bit intense here about local government.
Yeah.
What do you feel that's good about local government in a small town like this, and what could be better?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. This town has elected councillors, and councillors are local people who have to live within the area, obviously. And my impression, and to the best of my knowledge, the people that are elected are people that care about the town and work hard about the town, for the town, and know a lot about the town. And party politics, in my strong opinion, should not and really doesn't come into local government at this level.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I think it definitely does at national level, but at local level I think it can muddy the waters a little bit.
Well, Devizes is very interesting. It's like Frome, and I believe like Trowbridge at the moment, that many of the people are in an independent party. You have to be in a party, it's party politics, but you have to be in a party really to stand for election, because you're registered as a political party. But the political party is a party of people that care about Devizes, so there's no national party politics.
No. Okay. How do you see the future of local government? What can you see changing over the next few years? What would be your best hopes?
Oh, I don't know. I have to refer to what's happened in Devizes over the last 2 years, and I'm very pleased, because what's happened is that we have devolved back various services and various buildings from Wiltshire Council.
Right.
For example, the marketplace, the shambles. We've devolved back various activities that are done, such as grass cutting and so on and so forth. And to my mind, everything's done much more efficiently now, and is much closer to where the services are being delivered. Therefore, people have been listened to. I'll give you an example. If you take Quakers Walk, suddenly, because things were being done much more efficiently, the grass at Quakers Walk was cut much more regularly.
Right.
And the local people there said, hang on a minute, we like the longer grass because of...
oh yes, I remember that, because of biodiversity.
And what's happened there is now, the grass is left to be longer with paths cut through, but the result is there's a beautiful, a great long stream of daffodils that come out in the spring that have been planted by the locals as a result of this initiative, and there's a wildflower area. So
we do love our town, don't we?
Oh yes,
passionately.
Oh, yes.
What's your feeling about younger people, Chris, being involved in local government? So to me, what I see is older people running towns, and I understand that there are people who've gained wisdom over the years and everything like that. But personally, I wonder about the future with not very many young people being involved in the whole process. Are we getting
Gail,
Are we doing a youth council at some point?
Yeah.
Is that right?
And that we have in the past as well.
Yes.
This is an ongoing initiative.
Yes.
And don't forget, in a past life, I was a teacher of teenagers, so in a secondary school. So I'm very much for young people being involved. It's something that's currently being worked on at this precise moment. There's a working party that's been set up.
Great.
And funnily enough, a couple of meetings ago, this was discussed at council level. So this is something that's moving forward. I can't be more specific at the moment because, of course, it's work in progress. But obviously, we want younger people to be involved. When you're a town councillor, it can sometimes take quite a lot of time.
Yes.
And therefore, people perhaps who are older,
Retired,
have got the time. But we have started to get younger people on the town council. And it's very important. Not just younger women, younger people, but women as well.
Yes.
More women.
More women, or a nice balance would be good, wouldn't it?
A good balance, young and
Yeah.
old, and both sexes, yes.
Yeah. So you have a consort, don't you? A mayor's
I do.
consort. Is that the right? Have I got it right there?
Yeah.
Your lovely husband Steve.
Yeah, my husband Steve.
Has he enjoyed being Mr. Mayor? Is that politically correct to say that? I'm not really sure.
He's consort.
Yes,
I've jokingly called him the mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
I've introduced him, but because yes, I've been called the mayoress before now, and I say, well, no, it's not me, it's him. But no, I think he's enjoyed it. It's given him the chance to do things that otherwise he wouldn't have done. For example, we went to Salisbury Cathedral, to the service of law, and I think he found that very impressive,
Right.
with all the judges and so on and so forth.
Because I took some photos of you the other day with Steve, and I was touched by how supportive he was, and has been. You know, I've seen you in a few places over the last couple of years, and there he's been, sort of.
I've said, would you mind coming? Would you mind driving me? I need.
Yeah.
And of course, wearing this chain, which is very valuable. I like to have somebody with me. I would never go out alone in this chain.
And he has one of his own as well, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, one that's loaned to him for the time that he's consort.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice to meet the mayor's consort. So what would you say was the most important thing, or what are you most proud of over the last 2 years, Chris? I would say hanging on in there personally in difficult times, but you may say something different.
Leading, being part of this amazing town council, because they receive lots of criticism.
I like the town council.
Yeah, and I have to say, seeing it from the inside, it's often unjustified criticism. Councillors work very, very hard, and our town council has got a whole wide range of expertise and experience and so on, and put that all together, and you've got very.
And there's some very quiet hard work goes on behind the scenes. There's you've got a few people there who aren't shouting about themselves, and I have to say the flowers are lovely. So you do all the parks and gardens, and their team needs some credit.
I haven't really answered your question, but we've got a town council that has the most amazing parks team. Our town is beautiful. We've got the jewel in the Crown Hillworth Park. It's
beautiful flowers. So we had a chat earlier about what was your funniest moment.
Well, there's been lots of amazing moments, I have to say. I think the funniest was when I was approached by a little girl about 4, who said to me quite loudly, "Are you the Queen?" Which I thought was really, really funny, because everybody laughed, but sadly the Queen's about 30 years older than me.
Oh,
Oh gosh. But no, yeah, that was very, very funny. But there's been lots of really interesting moments. And I have to say, again, going on from your question, the fact that I've been able to meet so many different people, and particularly Devizes people, has been absolutely amazing.
will you miss it?
No, I don't think so.
It's been quite hard work.
Yeah, I've done it for 2 years.
Yes.
And I do think it's a good idea to pass it on to somebody fresh and new. And the next mayor, Councillor Corbett, has got totally different experience to me, and he'll bring different attributes to the job. And going on beyond that, we've got Councillor Stevens again, who's a very different person.
So one of my questions was going to be, if you had any advice for the next mayor or future mayors, what would that be?
I've already given some advice to Peter, and that.
But give me the advice that you're allowed to tell me about.
Well, this is the advice about getting into the safe.
The safe.
And so I've given him. It's taken me 2 years to learn how to get into the safe without setting off the alarms and what have you. I mean, I've even had the police turn up at the town hall where I've been trying to break into the safe. So.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Oh golly. not fun at the time, funny to look back on, but yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely. And when does your mayoralty come to an end, Chris?
19th of May. 19th.
Right, and is there a formal handover ceremony
Yes,
or anything like that?
Yes, a very formal, lovely ceremony, which sadly...
Does that take place here? Or?
It's in the town hall. Sadly, I haven't had the privilege of that because we were in COVID both times.
Right.
When I took over. But it's a very formal ceremony, and I have to say I have seen criticism about things being formal in the town hall, but I do think it has a purpose, and I do think it certainly is very very beautiful as well at times. Yeah.
I like the formality and the tradition, but there has to be other stuff going on as well. We can't stay pickled in aspic, can we? So there has to be new and innovative things going on as well.
I can assure you, we definitely are not pickled in aspic.
Definitely not pickled in aspic. That's good to know. Okay, well, Chris, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's a real privilege to interview you, and I just have a sense of this point of time in history, and I really wanted to make this little film with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been really interesting showing you around.
What are you doing with the rest of your day?
Today?
Yes. That's always an interesting question to ask people.
As you know, we stopped here because I have a meeting with another councillor this afternoon.
Right.
And then I've got some research to do about a council issue. And then probably by this time we'll have got to the evening, and I think a nice glass of red would be absolutely perfect.
Oh, it's so lovely. Thank you so much, Chris. And, I wish you well with the end of your mayoralty and beyond.
Well, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.